You like this. You've enjoyed this. You've enjoyed the build-up this has given to the 2009 season. You look at this, though, is any side guiltier than the other? I mean, Rollins made the comments to start things off, so you could say maybe he started off, but maybe his comments were just kind of generic. They could have let slide, but David Wright hopped in right immediately, and that's pretty much led to the snowball effect.
Yeah, I don't think you can point blame on either team. What I will say is, Wright, Rollins, they've been kind of going back and forth for a couple of years now. As far as, the Pelfreys,
Ruben Amaro.
the GM that's been there for 2 weeks. Yeah, Amaro. This is bringing a whole new dimension to it. And it should be interesting what this leads to come the season. Some beanballs, things of that nature. Again, I don't think any team's really to blame. I just think it's all in good competition.
All right, on to topic 3 now. NFL Week 16. Wow. When they put the schedule together, they could not have worked out any better that this week, there's only about 2 or 3 meaningless games this week. Everything else has a storyline to it. Both teams involved in a lot of these games need wins. A lot of good ones. Here's some of the key games to this Sunday. Baltimore versus Dallas, a big one. Arizona, New England. Pittsburgh and Tennessee, which I can't wait for. First one at 10 probably wins that game. And Carolina, New York, the Giants. Those are just 4 of many of the games. But which one of these games stand out to you?
Many of them do. I mean, I would say the one that most does, though, is the one that's going to be on Sunday night. Carolina at the Giants at the Meadowlands. These teams have been, in my opinion, the 2 best teams in the NFC all year. I think Carolina is just a class ahead Tampa and Atlanta in that division. The Giants, up until the last couple of weeks, they simply dominated their competition. I think this game is going to come down to, I don't know how you feel. I think both teams run the ball well. Both teams defend the run well. I expect Jacobs to play. They rested him last week. Wasn't a must game for them. This is a must game for them.
Yeah.
This is a season-changing game for them. I think the team that can muster the most significant passing game is going to be the team that has the edge in this game. Because, again, I think both teams will figure out a way to stop the run because I think they'll be stacking the box. I think the passing games are going to be huge in this game. I don't know how you feel about that. But
the Giants, 11-3, but they started a little bit of a slide. Things are kind of going the opposite way they did last year. Last year they were hitting momentum, hitting their stride going into the postseason. With the Plaxico situation and then with Brandon Jacobs being injured, those are 2 key weapons for them right now. Those are their 2 big playmakers basically on offense. And since they've lost those 2, it's been kind of tough going. Who do you go to? Passing, you don't really have a go-to. You go to Hickson. Is Hickson your guy?
Absolutely. And it always cracks me up. 2 weeks ago, all these guys calling up. Burris, we don't need him. We got Hickson. We got Smith. Look, while I know the Giants are a team, and whenever a team wins the Super Bowl or has a good record, they oversell the fact we're a team. If you watch the games, if you watched last year in the playoffs, if you watched, even the beginning of this year, Burris makes that offense go. He commands a double team on every play. They were going to really miss him, and they do really miss him. I think where this whole issue is affecting them to the point where, it could ruin their season is Pierce. Now, I don't think Antonio Pierce, obviously, involved in the incident with Burris. I don't think he's not a great player, but he is a leader of the team. And I'm not talking about much from his play actually on the field. It just seems he's in a little bit of a daze.
Yeah.
It seems like he's just been a little bit dazed. He has to be affected by not only the shooting, but also what came out this week. What was he with some?
Yeah, at a party.
There's cameras in a strip club. Could you imagine that? I mean, I don't know. It's amazing to me. But he did get a call with some strippers on tape. He is married. Can't help but be on his mind. I don't know if this still affects the Giants, but I think it has. And look, this put up or shut up this week. I mean, they're playing for home field.
Now, looking at the AFC side of this weekend, Pittsburgh and Tennessee, the obvious big matchup. The top 2 teams. This game will likely decide home field throughout the playoffs in the AFC. I know you feel about Tennessee. You think they're a fake number 1. Pittsburgh, while they've been injured most of the year, has managed to win. As much as people want to dog Roethlisberger, he had some of the greatest drives in the final few minutes of the game. Do you think this game means... I think it means a lot for Tennessee. Do you think it means a lot for them to make a statement? It's in Nashville. They need this win. They've been kind of shaky the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you just hit on the point I was going to bring up. It is in Nashville. All right, and something's got to give with the Steelers. Do they play a good team every week?
Yeah.
Or is it just they play the Giants? They play the Cowboys. You know, last week we had the Ravens. Last week it seems like they have a tough grind out game every week.
Yeah.
And we're coming towards the end of the season. They've navigated through it very well, as far as I'm concerned. If you're a Steelers fan and you're sitting there with 3 losses right now, 3 losses right now against that schedule, you have to be happy. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. You got Pittsburgh coming in there against Tennessee. Tennessee will be keyed up. Probably had a rough week of practice after that performance last week, and I'm expecting Tennessee to play a lot more desperate. When you get in these late weeks, the team that's the most desperate, I think, doesn't just have the advantage, but they play with a totally different kind of set of emotions than a team like Pittsburgh coming in well.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm not ready to make a pick on this game yet, but I do think Tennessee comes out with a way better effort this week.
The only thing that concerns me for the Titans is Haynesworth. We've learned this year. You forget his past training regressions. He's not a great guy off the field. I mean, him taking off a guy's helmet and stepping on his face, that kind of sticks with you. But he's an outstanding player, and he's shown that this year. When he's been out of the game, Tennessee's had a hard time stopping the run. It happened with the Jets when he got knocked out early. The Jets just pounded him up the middle. Couldn't really stop it. Kind of expect the same thing today. The Steelers are going to be running right at him. They like to do that. Can they plug that hole in the middle and replace Haynesworth? He's out for the last 2 weeks of his regular season.
Yeah, he's a guy. You don't replace a guy like that. Again, full disclosure, I'm a Jet fan, actually. A guy like Jenkins, last 3 weeks, he's been, I don't know if he's tired. He's been non-existent. It's affected them. Haynesworth, same thing. And Vandenbosch, too, is out, isn't he? I believe Vandenbosch is out as well. It's with those two. I mean, those are two. You could argue those are 2 of their best 5 players, period, on the whole team. It will affect them. But, again, I just think in the end, the fact that they're so desperate and they've come out and, laid eggs in these last couple of weeks, I do expect a spirited game, and I love that coach. I like Tomlin, but Fisher, I mean, he'll have those guys ready to play. And I think in this game, those little things are going to matter most.
Right, I agree. All right, well, I appreciate it, man. Good job today.
All right, man.
Look forward to this coming up pretty soon.
Good to work out the kinks, get behind the mic a little bit. We hope you enjoyed it. Again, hit us up on any questions, comments at our email at thesportspoint@gmail.com. You can also catch us at our blog at thesportspoint.net.
Thanks again for joining us on our first ever podcast. Until next time, this has been a TSP presentation.